Do you know how many, this is old information. This may be 10 years old. Do you have any idea how many women fake orgasms?
Not mine.
I know. Yeah, you know how many times I heard that? What do you think?
80%.
No, 40.
40, yeah.
40%. You know how many women have never had an orgasm and they've had 10 kids?
Of any form or?
Any form.
Okay.
18.
Huh?
18%.
No, 50. No, 50% have not had an orgasm ever and had kids. And you know what ethnicity? Get ready, boys. You know what ethnicity is the highest in faking orgasms?
White.
No, Muslim women. The second is Latinos.
Are you serious?
Correct? And Dagos, Goomba, spaghetti benders.
Oh my God. There you go.
Now, don't go ask your mom. But ask your mom. You know? And now, no new studies have come out that I'm aware of anyway. But I'm sure one of you will tell me, some fucking YouTube fuck will Google fuck it and let me know. But I'm here to say that I believe the millennials are higher. That's what I say. We'll see. Yeah. Now, back in the day, in the 1900s, the 1800s, it was like 90% faked it. They didn't even fake it because the guys, didn't give a shit. Back in the good old days, and I don't know about the caveman when I should have lived. Where's my thing? When I should have lived. But somebody emailed me. This was actually yesterday. I just read it. What are the most important events in my life? Or they phrase it a little differently. The first most important event, chronologically, was June of '67 when I was commissioned a young officer, an officer and gentleman by the Act of Congress. Next was the birth of my 3 kids. And then the next was Great Western going public, an option. I didn't understand what taking something I didn't own public really meant in the history of finance. But it was a big fucking deal. And so, but for those of you, for the kids that wrote the question in, what about Klausy? Now you've seen the full gamut of world-class leaders now.
An operations guy.
He's on the other end of the spectrum of leadership.
Yeah. Yep. And he uses the same weekly report that you're going to use. Because he got it from me.
He implements the whole model of the whole organization.
Mm-hmm. And for those of you that have layers of management, you shouldn't. I mean, nobody's got an organization big enough in here. But if you've got 2 or 3 layers, they should report up to the next layer. Just as you report to me, you will get people resigning. I guarantee it. That's one of the only 2 or 3 guarantees. You will have people resign from your organization if you give them the same report you give me. If you demand it, cunt it out, and you demand it from them, they will resign en masse. That's a good way to get rid of them. Well, what will I do? How can I replace them and all the information they have and all the... Fuck them. Where they breathe. You don't need them. But you don't believe that. You don't believe it. The Doofus brothers, oh, fuck. It looks like a geriatric farm, their employees. 67, 62. What do they all come to work in Zimmer frames? You know, those fucking... What else about Klaus?
A company will take on the character and values of its founder.
It begins at the top. Everything filters down. People do what they see you do, not what you tell them to do. What else?
You only emailed one time. Or excuse me, when you received an email through his inbox, he's going through them, you would only read it once and you always respond then. Meaning he wasn't reading it, thinking about it, coming back 2 days later.
You will literally spreadsheet answers. Well, when somebody catches you off guard, so to speak, and you answer your phone, and first of all, anybody that says, is this a good time, just hang up on them. You say, is this a good time? Because you're insecure. Who gives a fuck if it's a good time? So just start hanging up on people. Don't tell them okay. But when they call and then you say, I'll get back to you, it's because your brain isn't quick enough to come up with a fucking answer. And you're afraid of making an error, so you want to go and hopefully not spreadsheet it, but spreadsheet your answer so you don't fuck up. So you got a person that says it's a good time because he's a cunt, and then I'll get back to you because you're a cunt. And this is why nothing gets done. And by the look in your face, I know you say, is this a good time? I can just tell. Why do you think you said that? Your adult life. Did you say it when you were a kid? No. When you were 6 or 7 and you might have had some self-esteem and you run up to daddy or mommy, is this a good time? So when did you develop it? As your self-esteem went in the toilet. What else about Klaus? Pardon?
What he said that whenever he wants an answer, he doesn't care about going as far deep and down into the organization himself versus relying on his reports.
Yeah.
And having been in corporate, that's extremely unusual.
Yep. Yeah. Well, he's an unusual guy.
Yeah. He uses that bottom line up front type deal. So when he receives a message, he doesn't want to read 12 paragraphs. He just wants a high level overview of what it is, what his options are, and then he puts his answer on it and then sends it back to him. Saves him.
And at one time, he had over 400,000 employees at Siemens, 20th largest company in the world. Revenues 100 billion, something like that, more than that. What else about here, Professor Dr. Kleinfeld? Yes, sir.
There's continually evaluating environment and people for improvement, and never letting people walk away with a misperception of his approval or disapproval. He corrected them immediately. That was a discussion you and him had.
Yep.
I can't remember what it's called though, but it's...
It was management by objectives, it's called. But the things that we've discussed have got in the B schools to the extent that business schools. I went to a whole seminar saying B schools and nobody knew what I was talking about. They thought of bimbo or, by the way, when for those of you that are interested in making films, there's a B roll, there's a second roll of film. You know why the name B roll came about? It was the bimbo roll that you lied to the bitch so you can get her on the casting couch, and we're going to put her on take a B roll of her. Nobody ever saw that B roll. It's the bimbo roll. Anyway, so what was the question? I got off on the movies for some reason.
You're talking about the concepts that are running the business.
Oh yeah, the B schools. Yeah, they have a name for it. Management by objectives. They got but the bottom line is it's so you don't have to go through all the rigmarole of reading reports. Although I want your weekly reports to err on the side of war and peace. Because the more you write me, the more I understand how you think, and the more I can interface and give you and cut to the chase. But getting back to the phrase is, what else about Kleinfeld?
People will reveal their true character when they think you're not looking.
Correct. There's a famous deal, not Brett Hume, I can't remember. The guy that went from Fox News to the press secretary of President Bush, and then he died. Anyway, he's supposed to be a terrific guy. He's walking through the parking lot at some mall, and he sees 4 or 5, you know how you see rappers, going by because of the wind? And he went around and picked up 4 or 5 rappers, and then looked for a trash can and put them down, and most people just walk by. And you'll watch people. I can just imagine, for those of you that have employees, and we used to do this back in the 90s, and we probably should do it again. Stake out your building, but they don't see you. You'll be flabbergasted. Come back 3 days early from a vacation. Come back 3 days early and walk in unannounced. If you get there at 5:30 in the morning and you leave at 9 o'clock at night, the first day you'll catch everybody off guard. Maybe the second day, maybe the third day, but by the 4th day, the whole work schedule of your employees will change. I used to do that when people complained that it was too much work, not enough time. I'd get there at 3:30 in the morning, be sitting in the lobby of the building with a pot of coffee, my feet up on, a chair, and see the look on their faces as they walked in. I used to go around between 8 and 9 o'clock every night, and we had 48,000 square foot of office space, which is, if we had taken 6 more thousand square feet, the building would have been named after us. I'd go start about 8, 8:10, 8:15, and I'd go to every single, and we still had offices, we didn't have cubicles. And I'd go around every single office around the perimeter, and then I'd move one office in, the next perimeter, then one office in, and then I'd end up at the elevator. And time and motion studies are a waste of money, but they talked me into a time and motion study, so we put a staircase between our floors because we had 2 floors. What a waste of Then we put a gym in. 3,000 square foot gym. What a waste of fucking money. Young, in the early parts of my management career, and I had a lot of employees. Well, they're going to save time. They don't have to go to the gym. Sometimes I think I was the only fucker that used the gym. I go in at 8 o'clock, nobody there. Go in at noon, 2 people, 2 fat girls weigh 400 pounds between them. And they're talking. They're not doing anything. They're talking. Then I go in at 8 o'clock at night. One of your employees, some old gimmer on a fucking Zimmer frame. And if you think, and especially for labor, if you think older employees, just because they know how to fix a toilet better, it takes them 50%. It should take them 50% less time. But if they move like this, youth is wasted on the young, as evidenced in our boxing exercise. What else about Klaus? He is at 98% of all Fortune 500 managers are at his end of the continuum. Not alpha male, 98%. He's at what I call the Henry Kissinger end of it. For those of you that Mr. Kissinger was Secretary of State, I also met him. He's 90-something now. And Ballmer is at the other end.
Touch things once.
Pardon? Yep, he touches them once. Because he's confident, he can make a decision. Whereas you look at it, and am I going to look stupid? The first thing most young owners, not young in age, but chronological age, but young in being head of a business that you own, don't want to look a fool. Who are you looking a fool to? Your employees. In this case, your board. They know that you're stupid. They don't know how stupid you are. That they don't know. But you're going to show them soon enough. And that's why you asked me these questions. I said, what does the board say? And then I never hear about it again. So why don't we do us both a favor? Don't even fucking ask me. Just go straight to the board. And it is true, some of your board members will leave when they see how stupid you are. They won't all leave. They know you're inexperienced, but they give you the benefit of the doubt. They give you more benefit than you deserve. And that's another reason it takes you so long to do a deal.
If that's an improvement.
What?
If I see improvement.
Absolutely. But if you never ask them, they don't see the improvement. And that's why it takes the kids so long to do a deal, because they don't want to look stupid. You know, most world-class leaders engage in self-deprecation. They poke fun at themselves. I'm a classic example of that. And you taught just the opposite. And in some cases, you'll embarrass our race. You'll embarrass our ethnicity. You'll embarrass our family name, God forbid. And what has that gotten you so far? Fuck all. But Klaus is a world-class manager, yeah.
I like and how he manages. He makes them solve the problem. So the report's written not just don't tell me your diarrhea report, but I think is really effective.
And that's exactly what you have to do. When you have, at the bottom of your report, you have, first you have challenges, and then you have questions, and then you have to give me 3 answers. And you prioritize the first answer is the answer you think it is closest to being correct or is correct, and then the second least and the third least answer. And but I said this a couple of days ago, 90% of the time, somewhere in those 3 answers is the right answer. And sometimes, I'll circle and say this part of this answer and this part of this answer. And sometimes I'll say all of the above, and then if I say none of the above, and then I give you the right answer. I give you the right answer. But most of the time, you're within the ballpark. Occasionally, you're just off the fucking wall. And that's normally when English isn't your primary language, and you've misunderstood a whole concept during the seminar, and it follows you to when you're out there and writing the reports. Yeah, but he's a world-class manager, and then that's why the Saudis picked him initially to head up NEOM, the biggest deal on the planet. And that's after he got thrown out. I mean, he was still bouncing from falling from the penthouse to the shithouse.
Why did he fall out?
No, he got thrown out.
Why?
Oh, because he wrote a letter in a hostile takeover, and he shouldn't have written the letter. But he wrote a letter to the guy that was leading the hostile takeover. And if you read it a certain way, there were veiled threats in the letter. If you read it another way, I mean, there weren't. It was just some guy pissed off. But what the other people, the general public, don't know is what caused him to write that fucking letter. Because Klaus isn't a fucking stupid guy; he's a very bright guy. But when in these hostile takeovers, they follow your kids around. They follow your wife around to see if she's cheating on you. They follow you around to take pictures of him when you're cheating on your wife. And that's all the shit they use in hostile takeovers. And none of that seems not to get to the press. But if Trump does it, fuck, I mean, it's front page. Again, congratulations, Rick, Senator-elect. Okay, YouTube.